Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Chioma Naomi and I'm so happy that you're here. Today is another one of my self-improvement topics, okay? We're talking about how resentment thrives on the abandonment of self. So let's get into it. The topic of resentment was something that I understood more so by context clues. However, I feel like it's important and really helpful to have a more focused understanding of what something means so that we can develop a better understanding of how we want to use it and how we relate to it. Before we even get into anything, I actually want to define resentment so that we can navigate it just a little more effectively. So, resentment is defined as bitter indignation at having been treated unfairly. Emphasis on the unfairly. When I read this definition, I was like, okay, yeah, like obviously that's what resentment means. However, I have like a little think piece because I be thinking and I be yapping. Here are my thoughts around the topic. So when we think of resenting something, I feel like we often think of disgust and feelings of disgust. And while that sometimes happens as like a byproduct of resentment, those two things aren't mutually exclusive, right? Those things they're not the same, especially. So how does the abandonment of self relate to this, right? So I want to focus more on the treated unfairly part of this definition because that's going to inform how I thought about this, okay? When we don't speak up about what we want and there are feelings left unexpressed, unattended to, and not properly acknowledged, right? We are treating ourselves unfairly in those moments. Granted, this feeling can extend outside of ourselves, right? Like other people can treat us wrongly, treat us in ways that we weren't deserving of, right? We can resent our circumstances even if it's no specific person's fault, right? But we feel undeserving of this treatment or of this experience, needless to say. And sometimes it's just like the luck of the draw of our environment, right? And it's literally no one's fault. But more than anything, the atrocities we commit against ourselves is what allows this feeling of resentment to persist, as well as sometimes even on a grander scale than atrocities that are committed to us from the outside. When we sacrifice ourselves for others, the cost will always be too expensive. Energetically, there will always be an imbalance because you are going without something that you need to fill someone or something else up. And that's no fault of the other person, right? It's no one's job to fill us up. Of course, right? Always take what I say with a grain of salt. And you know this. So, of course, relationships should be mutually beneficial. Should. They should be, right? But we cannot expect others to fill us up. At the same time, we actively are choosing to abandon ourselves. How do we put that responsibility on them, right? It doesn't really make sense. It puts an unnecessary amount of pressure onto our relationships that others don't really deserve either. Expectations lead to disappointments, yes. But more than anything, unexpressed expectations lead to crash out. In this case, you are wanting someone else to show up as a mind reader and a magician all in one, right? With all of the magical power to give you the things that you want. And yes, it feels really good to be seen and understood and cared about by others, right? And that should be the standard and a given in all relationships. However, it is difficult. It's difficult to allow this type of loving and nurturing energy to flow in when you're not allowing your true self out. If you aren't communicating or expressing yourself, if you're actively neglecting yourself and your needs, it's hard for you to have space for love because you are already so emptied out, right? It's hard for you to show up in softness, in gentleness for other people because you already feel depleted. It's extremely unfortunate when we get to that place when we feel like we're owed something from someone because of all we did for you, right? Because of all that we've done. When love isn't about what you do, even self-love isn't about necessarily what you do. We're really nice or pleasant or loving when we feel like someone owes us something. We can't be nice to them. I haven't been treated fairly. This is an unfair exchange, right? I can't be loving towards you. It actively closes you instead of opening you. And real love does not come with debt. That is not to say that our relationship partners, family, friends, whoever, right, don't love us. Our own lack of accountability to ourselves is what drives a wedge between our relationships and creates a strain, okay? We become restricted within ourselves and closed up, just like I mentioned, right? And when our partners fail to read our minds, which they will inevitably do, right? Because let's be real, we close up even more, right? We create this falsified wound of unsafety. I expected you to read my mind so you can fill my cup. And then when they don't do it, inevitably, you're like, Oh, I knew you couldn't do it. I feel more empty now. I feel unsafe now to express now. I want you to read my mind even more. You should know what you did. How unfair. Like, that is so unfair. So we start to think our partners and our loved ones don't love us. And granted, sometimes we really do just choose the wrong people and they can be a bad person. That is true in some cases. But what I'm talking about is how when we allow ourselves to become overly sacrificial, you are already in so much energetic debt to yourself, and that's no one else's fault but your own. And also, I want to remind you, like, let's just be clear, you don't get any award for being self-sacrificing. You don't, right? There is no pillar of achievement to amount to. So in fact, putting ourselves in this perpetual space of giving up the things that we want to appease those around us, it can sometimes even cause others to treat us even more poorly. Not to say that this is a good thing or that they should treat us poorly, right? Because people should just be good people, right? There shouldn't really be an issue of how someone treats you based on how you treat yourself. People should just treat how they're going to treat. Oftentimes we get exactly what we think we deserve or feel about ourselves, right? We get how we feel about ourselves. That's what shows up in our life. How we feel about ourselves, how we think about ourselves, that's the reality we engage in. Those are the experiences that get reinforced because of that vibration that you're on, right? It makes me think of that phrase about how you can always tell how someone feels about themselves based on who they date and who they're in a relationship with. You can always tell what someone's self-esteem looks like based on the type of relationship that they're in. You can see someone's self-esteem in the partner that they choose, right? And how their partner treats them. It becomes evident in that respect. Oftentimes, if you are a giver, you will attract someone who takes from you in some capacity, right? There are beautiful experiences where both people are givers and you're both giving and receiving, and just this, it's this mutually fulfilling partnership. But more often than not, I hate that the world is like this, but like, people are going to take advantage of that. Like, you put yourself to the side, people are going to assume that you will put yourself to the side and expect it of you, and then get mad at you when you don't. The boundary situation, right? So of course this is going to lead to resentment. I'm getting so passionate. Wow. Of course this is going to lead to resentment. Those beautiful divine relationships that occur that are mutually beneficial and the energy just kind of like flows back and forth. You give to me and I receive it, and then I give back to you and I receive it, and then back and forth. A lot of the time that's not what's happening. That's just not the reality for a lot of us, right? And we will accept these lackluster efforts and experiences because we feel like it is natural and okay to put ourselves to the side. That's what we're comfortable with, right? We put ourselves, our wants, our needs on the back burner in the name of being understanding or loving or being liked, right? We will sacrifice ourselves to be understanding. Oh, I understand this person, so maybe I don't have to express how that hurt me, right? Or I want to be loving, like they're just so hurt. I just need to love them and I can love them through my hurt feelings, right? Wrong. And then the worst one, to be liked, right? We're putting ourselves on the back burner, not expressing how we feel, not being honest about who we are because we want people to like us. When in all actuality, you're actually being manipulative. Oh, this is a kicker. You're not allowing the people around you to truly see you. You're presenting to them what you think they would want from you or what you know will keep them thinking fondly of you. But at the end of the day, that's not the truth. Nope, it's not. Fundamentally, there's a lack of self-respect and a lack of self-importance that is present when this happens, right? Somewhere along the line, life, in some capacity, sent the message to you that your feelings, your wants, your needs, and your dreams were not important enough, and that everyone else matters more. Everyone else's dreams are more important. It made me feel like my dreams didn't matter. They didn't matter.
Luke came in the picture and it seemed like my dreams didn't matter. It seemed like they didn't matter.
And whether you actually believe this or not, you started behaving in this way, right? And that's stifling. We don't allow ourselves to fully expand in the ways that we could because resentment is restrictive. There's nothing inspirational or expansive about it. We become jaded without properly healing from these feelings of resentment. And we make these blanket statements like, I will never love again, or all people are this way. And I hate Libras, when that is literally the opposite of what love does, when we love ourselves and when we love others. So I encourage you to reassess, look at the accountability and the responsibility you play in your own feelings of resentment. Okay. I know this is kind of like a call out video, but a lot of my videos are, and we'll just like take it with a grain of salt. You don't have to agree with everything that I say in these videos, but my main goal is just to get us thinking, right? Get us talking about something, get us reflecting on ourselves. That is where true growth happens, right? And if you can solidify the way that you've been, and you can justify the way that you've been, and you can see the gain and the value in it, by all means, continue moving, continue doing what you do. However, if your goal is authenticity and your goal is to show up in more fulfilling ways, right, to get more of what you want out of life, you have to start giving it to yourself so that your external world can reflect those things. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Keep a lookout for my videos to come. But until next time, bye for now.